Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Wonder Woman issue 59. First thing I want to do is wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I know it's only December 2nd, 2018, but we did put up a Christmas tree, at least in my house here, the wife, the daughter, and I'm going to be putting up a tree here later. Maybe I'll live stream it, I'm not really sure, BS about DC and whatnot, but I'm decorating a little bit here, so having a lot of fun. And I just want to do a quick review about Wonder Woman number 59. Short synopsis here. Some of the high points in here is that I think that J. Willow Wilson, she's starting to get the voice of some of the characters that she's introduced, in terms of she's introduced some creatures of myth. I don't know what you call them, like beast characters. It looks like there's almost Pegasus, and there's like almost like a Cyclops-like character, and a buffalo-looking character. Just weird-looking characters, but she's already imbued them with some personality. And how they view humanity and men. They made some of the dialogue here is somewhat humorous. We ended last issue with it being revealed that Ares just appeared with Wonder Woman in a Middle Eastern area called Durovnia. Steve Trevor was in Durovnia as a soldier. There's a civil war going on in Durovnia, and he got captured. Wonder Woman found out that he got captured, and so she went there to try to rescue him, and lo and behold, she runs into Ares at the end, and Ares was essentially killed by Grail last issue with the Godkiller sword, and it's revealed this issue that essentially Ares has been reborn, and he's been reborn in a way that he looks an awful lot like Steve Trevor, or at least I confused him for Steve Trevor last issue, but apparently that's not the case. I thought the essence of Ares had been born in Steve Trevor, but that wasn't the case. The thing is, Ares has always been very dark-haired. He was established in Rebirth continuity under Greg Rucka's run. Ares had darker hair, so when Ares comes back and he's suddenly a blonde, and he appears at the end of last issue as a blonde, that confused me, that threw me off. But whatever, I'll let that go, because now we know that Ares is apparently a blonde now, and he wants to fight for just wars. And he believes now that apparently, before he was the god of war and he was kind of a jerk, and he fought, he encouraged evil, he encouraged conflict, he encouraged war, and he thought he was wrong in doing that, and ultimately imprisoned himself, self-incarcerated himself on Paradise Island. But then, because apparently with Grail's influence, an influence that we don't really know the details of yet, he came to convince himself that the people that are most remembered are the ones that fight for just wars, fight for justice. A lot like Wonder Woman. So he's very ego-driven, Ares. Surprise, surprise. So he has Grail kill him with the Godkiller sword. He then experiences a terrible light as he describes it, and then he's reborn. It's a rebirth. And I find it very interesting that the words "a terrible light" and "rebirth" were uttered from the same mouth, Ares. And I couldn't help say, are they speaking outside the comic book? Because a lot of people are thinking that they don't like DC Rebirth anymore because there's no hope. But they might agree with the phrase, "it's a terrible light." At least Ares does. In any event, some of the more interesting things here is, I like the fact that there's a little bit of tie-in, at least to the continuity of Witching Hour. Because at the end of Witching Hour, we know that the darker forces of magic destroyed Olympus, and magic is in disarray, and so Olympus was all but destroyed because of the story of Witching Hour. And apparently the gods now have sought refuge apparently in our plane of existence, and that apparently accounts for why these creatures of myth find themselves in this Middle Eastern area of Durovnia. And apparently gods are coming as well, and it might account also for how Ares ended up in Durovnia. We're not really sure yet, but it's very interesting. The gods apparently are reborn. So now with the destruction of Olympus, it might be interesting to see what J. Willow Wilson has to say about what the effects are now that Olympus was destroyed. Did the destruction of Olympus somehow lead to the reconstruction or the revitalization or rebirth of the Greek gods? Which might be a way of sort of maybe changing some of the continuity established under Greg Rucka's run, or maybe revitalizing or rebooting it or reinterpreting it a bit. Because remember, one of my criticisms of Greg Rucka's interpretation of the gods is that it looked like Bambi and Friends. All of Wonder Woman's gods, there was an owl and a rabbit and a goat. Bambi stuff. Like, give me a break. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, these are gods. Make them look like gods. Not Bambi and friends and animals like you'd see in a forest. I don't care. I know some people might, like that. To me, it's not. I guess I'm more old school. I like a little bit more. I just want a little bit. I want them to look a little bit more like the darker forces of humanity. I want them to look more human, or if they're gonna, or even look animalistic, but don't look like actual animals. That just looks. I just don't agree with that. So hopefully we're gonna get a revitalization. I like the look of Ares here. I mean, on the cover he's awesome. He looks terrible in the comic book. Unfortunately, Carrie Nord art does not impress. I'm not a fan. I know it's subjective, and I'm just not a big fan of Carrie Nord's style here. Fajardo Jr.'s colors really come through here, and once again, Fajardo Jr.'s colors saved the day along with the inks here. But the art is it's just not up to task. J. Willow Wilson deserved a better artist on this. She needs an A-list artist, not a B-lister. And Carrie Nord is a B-lister. He just is. Now, overall, I think that the story again has potential. It's a little bit cliche. Overall, there's no excitement here. I'm not excited. I don't know why I'm supposed to care that Ares is back, because it's just once again very cliche. J. Willow Wilson, so far 2 issues in, seems more concerned about telling us about putting Wonder Woman through a philosophical conflict that she's been through 1,000 times, that we've seen 1,000 times before, or I'm sorry, hundreds of times before in the last 40 years. I mean, I'm here to bring peace to man's world, but maybe how am I doing it? Am I doing it right? Should I be more aggressive like Ares is in this issue, or should I be less aggressive? That sort of struggle and conflict. Now, don't get me wrong. If that's, you can retell the same philosophical tales, and you can address those same types of themes with a different story, and it can be exciting. This isn't exciting. This, so far, 2 issues in, this is really boring. I'm bored. I'm really, really bored. I really hope this picks up. This issue in particular spent so much time on these creatures, which are, they're kind of funny. They have their own personality, so the writing is good. I think the writing is there. I can sort of get into this, but the way this thing has been paced and the way it's been structured, this story started off wrong. The opening issue, there's just too many questions. It started off wrong, and the art, wow, what a miss on the art. But I'm still willing to hold out on it. I'm still willing to give it a chance. Steve Trevor apparently has been captured by these mythological creatures from Olympus. He knows that Wonder Woman's in Durovnia. Meanwhile, Ares and Wonder Woman end this issue by fighting because Wonder Woman stops Ares from killing an American pilot, because America is involved in the Civil War and picking sides and all that the conflict of Middle Eastern politics, all that jazz. It's J. Willow Wilson trying to have Wonder Woman involved in a complicated matter. Unlike, remember Orlando when he had, what the hell is it? Orlando, I can't remember his first name. Doesn't matter. The previous writer, Orlando, he had Wonder Woman involved in a Middle Eastern dispute, and he had the cheat that Wonder Woman used her magic lasso around a general and forced peace. Wonder Woman's always forced peace. If J. Willow Wilson is going to do something actually meaningful here, there's got to be some death. There's got to be some destruction. There has to be something realistic. And why? Because you're not going to have peace in the Middle East without people dying. You're not. And please don't write a story where nobody dies. People are going to die. People are going to be destroyed. People are going to be tortured. People are going to be killed. Why? Because that's the real world. If you want to tell a story that's actually going to stand out for Wonder Woman, be realistic, okay? Please don't have her throw her magic lasso around the country and make everything go away, make everything better. Have there be loss, have there be suffering, and then have there be victory. And make the victory a Pyrrhic victory. Okay, because when it comes to the Middle East, when it comes to the real world, okay, life isn't like on Paradise Island. Have Wonder Woman, for once, learn a lesson worth learning. That this isn't Paradise Island, where you're surrounded by a bunch of 3,000 women that are all politically correct and everyone gets along and sings Kumbaya, and their idea of conflict is arguing over who got more bullseyes in their archer tournaments. Come on. Have a little bit of man's world reality here. I'm sorry, humanity's world, because obviously we have a lot of conflict in man's world, because we have a lot of women in man's world too, right? Men and women cause conflict. Let's see some of that. You know what I'm saying? Let's see some of that. I'm probably digressing a little bit too much there, but address the issue and don't pussyfoot around the issue. I hope J. Willow Wilson gets right into it. I actually don't mind. I think, if anything, Wonder Woman needs more of a reality check. If there's going to be politics in Wonder Woman, deal with it head on. Dive head in and have some fun with it. Have some fun with it. Kick some ass, and let's see where it goes. I don't see that with this. I don't think it's going to go there. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be just more Greek gods. The Greek gods are going to manifest themselves, and there's once again just going to be a bunch of preaching, rhetoric, and ultimately there's going to be a Deus Ex Machina ending where the gods utilize a power and make everything okay at the end. That's my prediction. Why? Because it's just fitting. It's just the way it is. I've yet to come across a writer other than Greg Rucka when he had Wonder Woman snap Maxwell Lord's neck, which was the best Wonder Woman moment in her history, I might add, the best. And Brian Azzarello, who had her become the god of war and kick some ass as well. That was cool. I want to see Wonder Woman step up to the plate here. But guys, tell me what you think of Wonder Woman 59. I know I went off on a tangent there. And until next time, Merry Christmas and Comic Boom out.